Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is take apart one of these pet style vacuum cleaners. A lot of people have these if they have a pet that has a lot of hair. These vacuum cleaners are meant to take the hair out of carpets and upholstery. They are similar to vacuum cleaners, but because they do also have multi-function with hot water, there is going to definitely be some copper bearing motors inside. There's going to be a lot of extra goodies that you would not find in a regular vacuum cleaner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart for you today. I'm going to show you where the goodies are, how to separate them properly, and most important, how to divert as much of this away from the landfill as possible. For the sake of this video, I actually have an exact model that I've already taken apart. There are a ton of exterior screws, so just to show you, these screws will go into my steel bin. I always take my screws and nails and put them into a plastic bin just so they're not loose and they don't fall out at the scrapyard or on the road and potentially give someone a flat tire. But here we go. So I'm going to take this one down. A lot of plastic, unfortunately, just to show you. This is a big bag of the plastic that comes inside and around it. Unfortunately, here is the bottom, very disgusting looking, a lot of hair on here. Unfortunately, our municipality does not take plastic for recycling, so unfortunately it is going to go into the landfill. But you know, some places will take them, and I really hope that our area gets on board with this soon, because there is a lot going into the landfill with this. But first thing I'm going to show you is the power cord that goes with one of these. A lot of times scrappers will go by and cut this. And this is a good find. In Canada, a power cord like this goes for about $1 a pound. It's about £1.50, which is definitely a good score. There is also on the tip coated brass prongs. Some people will leave these on here for the weight. Some people will take these coated brass prongs off and put them into their coated brass. I haven't seen a difference in price, but I do actually separate them, so really nice power cord. The hose, I've cut this, and the outside is plastic, but the inside is a nice long spool of metal. So I will actually put this in my steel pile. This will go to the scrapyard as is. And because steel prices is not great right now, they don't mind a little bit of plastic, so this will go in my steel. Unfortunately, the brush here, I will take the screws out, put them in my steel pile, but other than that, this is all plastic, so another going to the landfill, unfortunately. Inside, because this has a heater on it, on the bottom plate, there is a heater system. These blue items here are actually copper bearing motors. Some people will open those with a grinder. It's very messy. If I use a grinder, it kind of melts the plastic. So what I actually do is I will take the plastic off and I will throw these into my copper bearing motor pile. Copper bearing motors right now are about 10 cents a pound, which is better than nothing. It's you know, definitely going to divert some from the landfill, which is great. And obviously all the screws, the springs, these are going to go into my steel pile. So 2 small copper bearing motors. Here's the pedal that I took out that raises up and down the vacuum. This is going to go into my metal. The entire water system, so it's almost like a big snake. So here is the big copper bearing motor. Here is another one. This is the heating element that comes off. This outside is actually cast. If I take a magnet to it, it is not magnetic on most ends because it is cast aluminum. However, the outside areas, once I get up in this area, it actually is magnetic. And that's because there is a steel coil that goes inside this. So I actually put this into my dirty cast. Cast aluminum, unfortunately, right now is very, very low because of the COVID. Clean cast aluminum is about 25 to 35 cents a pound right now. Dirty cast is only about 6 cents a pound, but it's definitely better than steel. So I want to make sure I do take that apart. I also want to make sure on the ends here, these are brass connectors. So I will take this brass off and put it in my brass pile. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these right now just so I can show you better and more clearly. Okay, this is plastic, but here is another copper bearing motor. I am not going to be able to open that because it is very intertwined and hard to do. So this will go into my copper bearing motor pile as well. On the bottom as well, there is a larger copper bearing motor. This one actually will drive the brushes on the bottom. So this is another copper bearing motor, and this one's pretty heavy. It's about 2.5 pounds. So that's nice. Cut all these cords here. So as I said, this is your heating element. It's going into my dirty cast. I have another copper bearing motor here. So this is, again, it's got some steel, so this will go in my steel pile. So now I have five small copper bearing motors in here. So that's pretty good. Just gonna cut this rest of this pile here. As you can see, I have a lot of wire. This wire actually does have, right here, there are 2 of them. These are silver contact boxes. So they will actually push the button. Anytime you hear a click sound, you break these open, and there is a small little bit of silver. It's not much, but just to show you, I am going to have a video on taking apart silver contacts, but please check that out when you see it. But for the most part, if I opened it, here's an example of one right on the bottom there, or the top, sorry, where my finger is. That's a small little silver dot. That is silver. So what I do is I actually cut those off. I put them into a little vial, and hopefully one day I will make a silver bullion. It also has a small little circuit board. This circuit board, because there's not really a lot on here, it's going to be lower grade. I will cut the wires off of here. This box does also have a silver contact in it. So this one, if I opened it, it would look like this. There'd be a small spool of copper, and there will be a silver contact on the top there. This is a bigger one than you're going to find out of here, but still silver. This wire is going to be classified as lower grade wire, and it's because there's a lot of plastic and very little copper inside. So when you go to the scrapyard, you're going to want to separate it from your appliance wire, because if you put it all together, they're going to give you the lowest grade, which would be this one. So lower grade copper wire right now is about 20 cents a pound. So if I mixed it, I'm getting 20 cents for all of this. So make sure you separate this. Okay, and I also want to make sure there are some really nice brass ends here. I will take those off. Here is another silver contact box. Okay, so again, I'm going to have a video on identifying and taking apart different silver contacts. So check that out when you see it. So a lot of nice lower grade wire. The main thing, there are a couple also, switches. These are your on and off. Okay, anytime you hear clicking, so there are 2 of these as well. These will also have a little piece of silver inside as well. So there's 2 of these. And what I'm going to look at here right now is my bigger motor. And there are different styles. Before I take this apart, the first thing I want to do is I want to check if the copper you see there is in fact copper. Nowadays, because of cost, a lot of manufacturers are actually coating it, making it look like copper, and making it aluminum. A lot cheaper. They are still conductive, but if this was aluminum, if I scratched that and it had a metallic color, I would not take the time to separate this motor completely. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take a file. I'm just going to rub it. And as you can see there is a copper underneath. So I will definitely take this apart because that copper right now is worth about $2.90 a pound. And what I do is I will save it up into a bag and I will bring it in. I just brought in 55 pounds of just copper from copper bearing motors, so it does add up. But I am going to take this one apart for you right now. There are different motors, and I also have a video on the different types of motors, where to find them, so go check that out if you're interested. But this one, not hard to take apart. The first thing I am going to do is I'm going to take the plastic or rubberized shell off here. This is steel, so I have to take that off. I'm going to use a hammer. I'm also going to see if I have, where are my safety glasses? Because I want to make sure I wear safety glasses. Anytime there are spots I can get hit, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hit this off. Okay, so this is going to go into my steel pile. This shell is aluminum, so I'm going to just take this off using a screwdriver. I'm going to put this into my vise. All I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take a screwdriver and lift this up. And it's attached. So there are two layers. This is clean aluminum. So clean aluminum right now is about 40 cents a pound. So I'm going to store that to the side. There is a nut in here I have to take out. So I'm going to do that as well. And I'm just going to pull these teeth up a little bit so I can get to it. It is a little bit sharp, so I want to be careful. Just want to make sure that I have a glove on. I don't always wear a glove, but I am starting to become more accident prone, and it is not a good time right now to go to the hospital, so I'm going to grab that nut. Alright, so get these out of the way. Put that in there. And I'm going to lift this as well. And underneath, so this is a plastic shell. I'm going to take those screws out. Okay, some people will use a drill. I don't. I just take me a couple seconds to just get the screws out. I find it actually pretty therapeutic. Take that out. And I'm also just going to actually, now this is loosened, I'm just going to actually take a hammer and hit this. But before I do that, I'm also going to take these pins out. There are a couple springs that I'm going to take out. And I want to make sure I'm wearing safety glasses or definitely hold on to them. I get that. There it is. I want to get, there are two screws there, one here and one on the other side. I want to get those as well. ratchet set. Get these out of here just to make it as easy as possible. Okay, and these are longer screws, but once I take these out, it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, those are pretty long. There's 2 of these. You can see on the end there are some brass fittings. These will also be removed and separated. Okay, I'm just going to hit it with a hammer now. Okay, alright, so here is the copper motor. There's a lot of plastic. So a lot of copper on here. Very simple. All I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to take a grinder and I'm going to grind 2 sides, both of these sides, and then I'm just going to turn it over and pop them out. I also want to make sure I get all of this wire and put it into my wire bin. Now that I have this removed, this is another copper bearing motor. Because the copper is so tightly wound in here, I'm not going to be able to get that out. But I can now get the aluminum because I'm going to hold on to this so it won't spin. Once I tighten this, of course. I'll get these teeth out of here. I'm getting tired of these teeth. These teeth are going to go into aluminum as well. I was hoping I could do it without them, but I want to make sure I don't cut myself. So I'm going to hold on. And there we go. So here's another piece of clean aluminum. The steel that connected it is going to go into my steel pile. This, even if it has the plastic on, I'm still going to throw this into my copper bearing motor pile as is. They're not going to say much with a little bit of plastic. And as you can see, it is kind of sharp, so be careful. So I'm going to go ahead with the grinder right now. It's already set up. Make 2 quick incisions. And here we go. You know what? I'm not feeling lucky right now, so I'm going to make sure I put a glove on just in case. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it over in the first one. Make sure there are a couple little hooks. I want to just cut those off first, just with a hammer. Hit them off, loosen them up. All right, I'm going to put it in my vise. And take a screwdriver. There we go. Put it underneath. Where's my screwdriver? There it is. Good. Okay, so there we go. Put it under. Make sure your motor is in the vise. As well, you might want to just make sure, sometimes the copper is stubborn. There is that plastic shell, as I said, so just kind of loosen it with a little bit of, I use one of these pliers. Just take the copper and kind of bend it up a little bit. Hit it with the hammer's good. Alright, so here we go. device that will work. There we go. Okay, and as you can see, there'll be 2 of these. So I just take this and I will put this into my copper pile. Okay, using leverage again. Pick this up. Work at it. There we go. Okay, so there's 2 nice pieces of copper. I still have the steel from the copper bearing motor. This will go into my steel pile. So all in all, a lot of goodies inside one of these. Very similar to a vacuum, but with about 5 extra copper bearing motors for the heat pump. You know, some clean aluminum. A lot of lower grade copper wire. As I said, the cast, this is dirty cast, go into a heat pump. Various size copper bearing motors. Some silver contacts, a power hose that has the steel, and another appliance diverted from the landfill. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Tin Man out.